Hello everyone, welcome back to Railway Cottage Studio. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with me on this lovely Thursday afternoon. I am back at my Home is Where the Heart Is panel number 8. Since I saw you last, I have stitched down everything that I pinned on yesterday. You didn't need to watch that, that was a bit boring. So I've stitched down everything and I've taken a few things off. I made a few design decisions. I've taken off my dark blue after I looked through the camera. I've taken off the red bit of fringing at the top, and I think I've taken off the bit of fringing that was there. So I've made a few minor changes. Excuse me, everything else is stitched down. So I've stitched down my bluebird and my beautiful lantern and this other bluebird. At the moment, he's a little bit lost, but I'm going to do some feature around him with some stitching. The only thing I haven't stitched on yet is my hexagon pear floraine and his little leaves that I found. So everything else is stitched on. I am free of pins. So what I have done today is I've gone and gathered a whole heap of bits and pieces for the next layer. So the next layer is the pretty layer, the interesting layer, all the lovely little bits that make it really interesting. So I just popped them under here to show you. So this is what I've gathered up. Looks like a lot of stuff, hey? So first of all, I went through and looked for some what we call kicker fabrics. This is something I learnt from my mum, who in turn learned it from a quilter named Lynn Booth. And she had this technique of adding what she called kicker fabrics, which are fabrics that were quite often pretty ugly, to be honest, and in quite bright and vibrant colours, but adding them as part of a mix, a small part, kicked everything else into a different level. So I've chosen a few pieces over here for my kicker fabrics, and just some fabrics that I really wanted to use, some beautiful little bits and pieces that I wanted to use of some older fabrics. So this is a kicker, this real mustard cheddar sort of colour. I'm going to use this as a kicker. It's just a busy bit of red. All of these little bits. This little bit of, I think that's French General. And of course, red check. Red check is always a great kicker. So I'm not sure which red check I am going to use. So I've got I have a few different things to choose from here. Some are fabrics, some are old French fabrics, some are, that's actually a bias binding. That's a bias binding. So they're there. Then a few little fabulous bits of trim, and I'll come back to them. And then I've picked up another couple of little bits of fabrics that I wanted to feature. So I've got this beautiful little French General bird, this little block that I made when I thought about doing the Repro Quilt Lovers challenge, but I just didn't have the time. So I've made this little block. I really like him with his roosters. Might use that. This gorgeous bit of offcut of a big toile. I just love that. And then some little people to feature. So I've got some dogs, some things that, you know, home is where the heart is, dogs, stamps. I'm a stamp collector. Yes, that's me. Another kicker. Some of these little fabrics that are 1930s sort of conversation prints. So I might choose a dog or a cat off that. No rabbits in Queensland, sadly. More dog. This is part of my cousin Lowell's auntie's beautiful curtain that I think I've used every square inch of. Mushroom, toadstool, not sure about him. And I've got some of this new Max and Louise conversation print, two little ducks. Again, a few bits and pieces, Max and Louise. And then these are really old. This is a really old French General Bee. And this is a beautiful, really old piece of conversation print. So I just want to feature a couple of little cane baskets because my house is chocolates. Mushroom, and then this beautiful little image of Pussycat and a bird. So that's that pile. This is a piece of fabric I picked up at Van Houten's when I was on the retreat with Corinne from To Beloved Treasures, and that was awesome. If you haven't been to Howard, it's a little town off the Bruce Highway between Gympie and Bundaberg, Gympie and Childers, and it's a 2-minute step off the highway, and they have the most fabulous fabric and drapery shop there. Well, haberdashery, everything you can think of. So this was a pickup from there. So a couple more little conversation prints, some dogs and chickens, roosters, and then some trims and things that are just going to make it pop. So this really gorgeous / ugly trim. So you can see it's a real mix of old and new. Like this is really old and this is French General. So, you know, I do have quite a mix in this particular quilt of old and new. This is gorgeous, isn't it? Double-sided. These are old shelf, you know, trims that you put on the front of the shelf. I bought these from Mac and Morgan or from Tate's Vintage on Facebook. She has some fabulous stuff. Just some little cotton trim that I was given. Beautiful bit of French fabric. And then these are sort of trims and bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way. Look at that. Some old lace. This bit. This is gorgeous. Look at that. Another bit of that. And then some offcuts of some doilies. And then last, but definitely not least, I have a little selection of buttons that I have just pulled out. So I've literally just gone in and grabbed what took my eye today. I have a few little feature buttons like this little guy. He is from Tate's Vintage. Isn't he beautiful? And if you follow her online, you can actually buy individual buttons like this. Sorry, that's my dog saying hello to somebody. Excuse the barking. A little wooden basket. A cup of tea. That's homely, isn't it? Some sewing scissors. And then just some beautiful... Oh, and this little terracotta house. I'm not sure what to do with him yet because he's very plain. It's a very plain bit of new looking terracotta. So I might stamp him. I might do a bit of a whitewash on him. That and the little terracotta heart as well. Oh, and then I have this beautiful guy. Look, it's like a flower sort of urn. So anyway, there are here in my on my right. So now I am going to do what will be the final layer of this panel number 8, which is very exciting because I am on the home stretch now. I can see the end of this piece and then there's only one to go. Sorry, my dogs have just lost their mind for some reason. Oh, hey, there's my son. Say hello, Clancy. And I'll just put you on pause.